have everyone's attention, please? Okay, good morning to everyone. I see we're still morning. Thank you very much for your patience. We have run a little bit over our program, I think a lot. But thank you very much for your patience. We appreciate SPAR for keeping you entertained with all the lovely goodies. We're ready to start our program now. We commence our program. Can we all please stand? We're going to just do the national anthem before we proceed.
Israeli tangazo yetu, Ngozi sidelela tina usawayo murena muluka sechama saye ufedise tepale matwenye Sibuluke, sichabasa, Yesu, sichabasa, South Africa, South Africa. Lo van ons hema, die diepte van ons Ons Here verwelkt, waar die kranse aanverteer. Sounds a call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
Thank you very much. You're all seated. We're going to ask Bonnie Curry Gamway to come to the podium to introduce our national anthem.
Good morning once again to everybody. I'll be short and sweet. She's my boss. So the national director is the head for our international guests of prosecutions in the country. So Advocate Shamila Batoy has been our boss for many years, and indeed it's almost time, in fact, for us to say goodbye at some point to her. So it's very special, NDPP, to have you at these launches. You have been one of the persons that have been at the forefront of supporting the initiative and supporting the unit, the Sexual Offences and Community Affairs unit of the NPA. And so we do invite you, ma'am, to all of these launches, because it's also our way of showing you also our appreciation for your support and for the leadership of the NPA as a whole for their support. This is not always an easy journey, the Tutuzala Care Center model, but it's such a worthwhile one. I'm especially happy that you are attending this particular one. It's our flagship. It's our first one that's not on a hospital site. It has the overnight facilities, and it's really where, in terms of our vision, where we want to go in future. And so I hope that in 10 years' time, to say to you, okay, we had the flagship here in Stellenbosch, but we've been able to replicate elsewhere as well. So with those few words, I welcome you to the podium to say your welcome and your purpose of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Good morning. Is it afternoon already? Still morning. Good morning, everyone. I normally am the one that says, oh, Portugal, observe, because, there's a long list of people to acknowledge. But I think I'm going to go through the long list because this, as you've heard, this is something like this is not possible without critical partners. So firstly, Liesl, our Hazel Africa, our Program Director, Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, the Honorable John Jeffries, our MEC for Health, Dr. Mbombo. I'm not here. Thank you very much for our MEC for Health was meant to be here. She's not here, but in her absence, MEC for Social Development, Ms. Fernandez, the Stellenbosch. I know we have a representative of the Mayor's office, but in the absence of Advocate van der Venter, the Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutors, Advocate Rodney de Kock, the Special Director, of course, Bonnie Curry Gamwo, the DPP, Director of Public Prosecutions for the Western Cape, Advocate Nicolette Bell, our Provincial Commissioner of SAPS, Lieutenant General Patekile, the Chief Director for Crime Prevention and Victim Empowerment Programs in the Department of Social Development, Ms. Liana Hussein, the Ring for Peace, various trustees that are present here, the GBV Leadership Group, our local Department of Justice head, Mr. Rodney Isaacs, SPA Chief Executive Officer, Mr. O'Brien, the SPA franchise owner, Mr. Delport, various members from the University of Stellenbosch, the Department of Education representatives present, prosecutors from the NPA and the TCC staff, representatives from various NGOs and CBOs, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to all of you. I'm really honored here to be at this valley in Stellenbosch to launch this with all of you at this launch of the Stellenbosch TCC. As Bonnie has explained, it is a standalone center, and I'm not going to go into the details of that, but really delighted to be here in the presence of so many diverse stakeholders that are all committed to fighting against gender-based violence and femicide. This site became operational on 1st of February 2024 with the assistance from the Ring for Peace Cape Trust and the GBV Leadership Group, which includes Mediclinic, the University of Stellenbosch, NPA, SAPS, Department of Health, Department of Social Development, which actually made this a reality. It enables the victims of GBV in Stellenbosch and surrounding communities to access and receive world-class GBV services. This is, in fact, the TCC model is an international best practice that started 20 years ago. And I'm very pleased that it is still something that is not the way business is done in this area globally. This is a most diverse area, inclusive of many farming communities here, informal settlements that are poverty-stricken. People don't realize that when you think of Stellenbosch, it doesn't actually immediately jump up. But that's just the center. There's lots of informal settlements, a large university community. And so it is really an area that is plagued, like many parts of South Africa, with high incidence of gender-based violence and really needs these GBV services, which is very limited in this area. It is sadly, as we all know, GBV is a scourge in South Africa. The 2023 World Population Review Report notes that South Africa is amongst 10 countries with the highest levels of rape worldwide. It is therefore not unexpected that a December 2022 Afrobarometer survey found that South Africans, both men and women, see GBV as the most important women's human rights issue that government and society must address as a collective. Police crime statistics confirm this picture. The statistics of the second quarter of 2023-24 show that between July and September 2023, the country recorded 10,516 rapes, 1,514 cases of attempted murder, 14,401 assaults against female victims, and 881 murders of women. This translates into 114 rapes per day, or an average of a rape every 5 hours, and between 9 and 10 women being murdered every day in our country. The rape and killing of our children and women is in fact reflective of a society that is devoid of a sense of humanity. It requires that a whole of society approach be adopted, in particular by men, that we declare war on GBVF. President Ramaphosa described GBVF as the second pandemic during COVID at the first presidential summit on this issue that was held in November 2018. This was followed by another summit in 2019 and the development of the Emergency Response Action Plan to address GBV in South Africa. One of the NPA's innovative interventions to give effect to these commitments has been the introduction of TCC model, but now it is not just an NPA initiative, it is a collaborative initiative by the department of various government departments. It is just that the lead driver, as I said earlier on, you need someone driving the issue. The NPA collaborates, bring partners together, and we totally, collectively make it happen. Not a single department or any of our private sector partners can do this alone. And therefore, we're very, very proud that today we can, as a collective, say that we have done this together. You understand the objective of the TCC. So in the interest of time, I'm going to actually skip through many of large parts of my address. This model works because, as you've heard, it's victim-centered, court-directed, really important because we need to ensure justice for the victims. And the sad thing in South Africa, ladies and gentlemen, is that even though in our sexual offences courts, we have a very high conviction rate, 70 to 75%. But that is, and our SAPS colleagues will take note of it, that is of the cases that prosecutors decide to prosecute. It is not 70 or 75% of violations in this country. If you go back to the reported cases, forget about unreported, because we know SGBV is notoriously unreported. If that is unreported, if we include unreported, reported matters, the conviction rate drops dramatically to under 10%. So under 10% of victims actually get justice. And we've had, and you know, I've spoken to Bonnie about this. It's something we really need to look into because SAPS have done presentations at the GBV summit that I mentioned, where they say that over 50% of these offenses are committed by people known to the victim. So the question is, if over 50% of these offenses are committed by people known to the victim, why do we not have at least 50% of detected of cases that are reported? Ultimately, there's convictions. Why is there such a big drop? So I'm still trying to understand that, and I've said to Bonnie, can we please, with our partners in SAPS, understand why? And it's so, especially when you're dealing with young children. A lot of them it's by a neighbor, and this is something we need to look at in this country. Young children are very often abused because there are not enough care facilities for mothers working. And so they leave the young children with a neighbor, with a family member, with an uncle, with a nephew. And very often these young children are actually then violated by people that are known to the family. So we really need to look at why that detection rate is still this low. This model promotes the cooperation of all relevant stakeholders. As I mentioned, the various stakeholders, and I won't mention it again. I want to pause to recognize that the support we've received from all of these private sector actors, business actors, and all of the ones that we've mentioned, and I want to again mention the Ring for Peace Trust Cape Town, have really, listened to the call of the president and partnered together with the various government departments to make sure that we have non-South African interlocutors, spearheaded by persons such as Professor Schurer and his family that are present here today. This is the first TCC, as you know, you've heard, that's not on hospital premises, so I'm not going to repeat all of that part of my formal speech. We mentioned earlier on in the smaller group that we now have 65 TCCs countrywide, but it's not enough. I think we have 175 police forensic units. Is that correct, Bonnie? Countrywide, 176. And I think we should really try to ensure that we have one of these centers as close as possible or attached to these SAPS forensic units, and that will make it really impactful. Besides providing better quality services to victims of GBV, a larger footprint of TCCs translates into improved reporting. We had 29,593 matters reported in 2020-2021 at the 60 TCCs. This increased to 36,813 reported in 2022-2023 at 62 TCCs. And so in the past 8 years combined, TCCs have dealt with 266,593 matters reported at these sites, and that is in the 6 years. So colleagues, more TCCs means more reporting, more confidence in the system. We also have an increase in conviction rates in cases that are finalized through the TCC process, and I'm not going to go into those, but they have steadily increased from around 60% over 10 years to now sitting around 75-76%. We've also noticed an increase in long-term sentences that are meted out by the judiciary. That also plays a really important part, and I'm pleased that we have our member of the judiciary that's also present here, and I'm sorry that I didn't acknowledge you earlier. Thank you very much that we have the magistrate present here. And so for the past 2 years, up to December 2023, the courts imposed 337 life sentences, 236 sentences of 20 to 25 years imprisonment, and over 600 cases of sentences between 10 to 15 years. Now, the point of this, colleagues, is that the courts are increasingly giving very high sentences for these cases. They are increasing, but the problem is the scourge is not coming down. So there's clearly higher sentences are not resulting in us effectively dealing with GBV. And so we really have to look at why is it so that is not the case. And so in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, here in Stellenbosch and across the country, there's an incredible amount of work being done to address GBV in the crisis that we face. But as I said, statistics have shown that barely 10% of victims receive justice. In as much as that we are committed to empowering victims, we still need to look at the 90% of women, children, and even others that are victims of SGBV. As I've said before, for corruption, the prosecution will not solve this problem. We are not going to be able to prosecute ourselves out of this crisis. We need a whole of society approach. And we have found that generally the focus of gender-based crimes and violence in this area has been on the crimes themselves, and very rarely on those gender norms that enable women's subordination and suppression in various communities. Very limited attention is paid to the various social and cultural practices that promote the treatment of women as objects of violence and abuse. These are therefore areas that a lot more work must be undertaken in if we really want to make an impact. We have to target interventions proactively to make sure that our children are not violated and that our girls and women are not subjected to these abuses. I remember at the Victoria Hospital, speaking to one of the doctors there when we launched that one, he said something that really resonates with everyone that works in this space, and particularly in these centers. He said that one of the victims came up to him and said, "Thank you for making the unbearable bearable." And that is what you do every day in the work that you do. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that notwithstanding, together with key partners, we are determined and we will work tirelessly with you to ensure that we can contribute and help in this journey of making victims survival, and in some small way enabling that more of our victims find justice at the end of the day. I thank you.
Sorry. As we continue our celebration, we'd like to call up Professor Shura to come into a supporting word from Ring for Peace Cape Trust. Professor Shura is the co-founder for the Ring for Peace Cape Trust.
Honorable guests, colleagues, friends, and family. About 20 minutes ago, we jointly rose at the occasion of the national anthem. And there is something which is a common denominator between your national anthem and this opening today. United we stand. As we just heard, united we act makes the difference. Our center, this center here, is the manifestation of what can be accomplished with collaboration, with partnership. The care is the prerequisite. The restoration of dignity is a consequence. Choice and legal recourse and support throughout. This is the formula which can make the difference. This is the formula to address the issue. This first of its kind GBV Center is proud to support a TCC, and we are proud to have a TCC team collaborating in the center. Advocate Gary Wambu is an indispensable guiding light. With, as Nelson Mandela once said, a formidable combination of a good mind and a good heart. That is her. That is the spirit of achieving. Our coordination and togetherness is for a common purpose, to support victims to become survivors. Our purpose leads us and our purpose unites us. Therefore, I dared, as a foreigner, to reference your national anthem. You honor our common cause with your presence here today. On behalf of 93 patients treated so far, we would like to express our deep appreciation. Appreciation for presidential and ministerial leadership, for the departments contributing directly to the collaboration as they are able to, for your police commanders being with us as an integral to this effort. This trust and interreliance is at the heart of our togetherness. Thank you. Let me ask you to join me in a quiet prayer. The Lord might bless the purpose and project and all involved to establish light and comfort in the darkness of the drama of gender-based violence. So please, Lord, hear and bless us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Shura. We appreciate your kind words and your prayer for Stellenbosch TCC and for all the victims of GBV. As we continue our program, we would like to call on our representative from Mediclinic, Ms. Del Shabango. She is the Chief Transformation Officer of Mediclinic South Africa. Thank you, Ms. Shabango.
Thanks very much, Lizelle. Good morning, all. I was tempted to almost say good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's not inclusive, so good morning, all. And all protocol observed. I wouldn't be able to go through the list that you did, so thank you for that. Yeah, I'm standing here on behalf of our CEO, Mr. Greg Van Wyk, who unfortunately couldn't join us today. But I think it's also fitting for me to also indicate a very important leader that started the journey with us here at Mediclinic. That's Mr. Kurt Pretorius. So thank you for your leadership in making us to walk this journey to where we are today. So thank you for that. So today, as we gather to celebrate the power of collaboration, a lot of us have spoken about collaboration this morning, and the remarkable journey we've embarked upon together. Our partnership stands as a testament to what can be achieved when like-minded individuals come together with a shared vision and determination to make a difference. From the onset, we recognize the potential for greatness in joining forces, both public and private and non-profit organizations joining together. And today, as we reflect on our achievement, it's clear that our collective effort have borne fruit beyond our wildest dream. We have shattered barriers, overcome challenges, lots of challenges, and reached new heights of success. But what truly sets our partnership apart is not just the accomplishment we are celebrating today, which is what we've achieved thus far, but the boundless opportunity that lies ahead. As we look to the future, we see endless possibilities for growth, innovation, and impact, because this is a societal challenge that can't be solved by one party. We have laid the foundation for a legacy of excellence that will endure for generations to come. And we're hoping that more will come out of this experience. Our success is measured in the lives we touch. The 93 that we've touched today, and unfortunately the many more that will come. The communities we've uplifted, and the positive change we've inspired as a collective. This is one person at a time, turning them from a GBV victim to a victor. Each milestone we reach is a testament to the power of collaboration. As Bernard would say, collaboration and togetherness. The strength of our partnership and the unwavering commitment of every individual involved. We might be coming through as organizations, but the power and the passion of every individual involved is a testament of what we see today. So, as we stand on the verge of a new chapter in our journey together, let us reaffirm our dedication to one another, our shared values, and our common goals. Let us continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, to innovate, to create, and to inspire. Mediclinic is pleased and deeply privileged to be part of this life-changing partnership for the betterment of all of us and our society at large. Together, we can continue to do more. With that, I'd like to say thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shavanda. We'll proceed with Dr. Howard Obama. He is the chairperson gender-based violence leadership. Thank you, Dr. Paul.
The 24th of August 2019 marks a significant day for me personally, and I think for the country. It was a day that a bright, vital, beautiful young student was brutally raped and murdered in the Claremont post office called Nan. I think this shifted the collective consciousness of the country. It was like the camel's back broken by the last straw. And I think it really highlighted the broader national problem of gender-based violence and femicide in South Africa. All of us that read the invitation to this event would have noticed this very eloquent sentence. In the fight against the scourge of GBV across the country, the President called on the private sector to be active participants in implementation of the National Strategic Plan of gender-based violence and femicide. So this raised the question, how do we, representing the private sector, how do we participate? So as a Ring for Peace Cape Trust, who I represent, we concluded that collaboration with all existing role players is the only way to move forward. Out of this, the Gender-Based Violence Leadership Group was formed. And this includes many representatives from all people, institutions involved in fighting this, as the President called, gender-based violence and femicide scourge. So, the leadership group, which I've been asked by Bonnie, she knows I love talking to big crowds, especially in Afrikaans. This leadership group, we've come together and we decided, and there was one of our many decisions, we've done a few things, but we decided we needed a Tutor Care Center in Stellenbosch. So obviously the push came from the NPA by Bonnie. It was supported by everybody in the group. And at that time, now retired Brigadier Sonia Harry gave us the rough statistics of what Stellenbosch area GDP statistics are. And she said very, very conservatively, probably, we know that only about 10% are reported, but if 50% had been reported, there would be in the region of 2,000 cases a year, and more than 50% would be in children, so people under 16. I mean, this is something. So as a group, as a leadership group, we decided let's go ahead, and one of our partners being Stellenbosch University came with this building as an option, and we said, well, this is a perfect opportunity, and as Bonnie had earlier said, there was no space at the public hospital. This is a perfect opportunity to do more than a TCC. Let's create a GBV center, and as everybody has mentioned so far, a flagship. Let's create something very special. So this is the consequence of our collaboration, and I think you've heard the word collaboration a lot. So we support in the center at TCC, and the TCC supports the center. So I think it's a perfect match. So I believe that a leadership group is a perfect representation of collaboration, because everybody comes from a different institution, from a different sector, and together we are able to achieve. When we come together as a group, which we often do, we steal a line from Bonnie or the MPA, that all we do is we focus on the victim. That's all we do. We bring ourselves, our hearts, our minds, as much as we can, and we focus on the victim. And we want every victim to become, as Gail said, a victor, or we call it as a survivor. That's what we remind each other. of. So this is how the center was created. It is neither only public, it is neither only private, it's not individual, but it's together for all. And that, to repeat myself, is all we want to achieve. Help a victim become a survivor. We wish we could do more, we wish we could prevent it all, but for now, this is what we can do. We ultimately want to give hope. We want to give hope to the individual, hope to the individual's family, the individual's community, and we want to also give hope to South Africa to show our collaboration can be done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wellman. We are going to have a bit of a deviation from our program. Unfortunately, Professor Bimter from the Stellenbosch University is not able to be with us. So we apologize on his behalf. We're going to move on to our sub-representative. We have Brigadier Sonjani here, who's the area commissioner in the Stellenbosch area. And we're very pleased to have him come and address us on behalf of Lieutenant General Fatakiri, who's also unfortunately not able to be with us today. Thank you, Brigadier.
Deputy Minister of Justice, I'm saying that in short. I know the name is very long, National Director of Public Prosecution, Dr. Patui, invited guests present here today, ladies and gentlemen. I must say also good morning to everyone. As the program director said, the provincial commissioner could not attend to this event. I could think that maybe he is engaged with other activities. So we apologize for him for that. I'm the station commander of Stellenbosch. And I heard the national director when she was speaking onto the stats relating to success in the justice system. And I want to agree with her on that, we're struggling as a result of various reasons to get to where we wanted to be. And some are cultural, as the director was saying. And if I may tell you about the Stellenbosch, I'm receiving about 150 cases per month that are gender-based violence related. And one would say that 150 should be giving you 100% conviction when we take those cases to court. And remember that gender-based violence, as the director was saying, is those cases that the victims knows who the aggressor is, who the perpetrator is. But 1, 2, 3, we're doing our police work. Along the way, you are confronted by people who come to the front desk, coming to withdraw cases. As police now, we have begun to have a standing rule that says we are not withdrawing cases at the police station. Let you rather go to court. But then having moved in that direction, that does not help us, because at the end, the cases get withdrawn. And the same cycle move again. So, as we appreciate and say thank you to initiatives like this project of Tutuzelas in the country, particularly Stellenbosch, I think we need to take it further, Deputy Minister, that we have a plan that goes down to this issue that I've mentioned. How do we get families, communities to understand what they are doing unto themselves? what do we do in that instance? And that is the project that we need to take forward after we have premises like this that they assist. Because we as police are very much excited because this, in a way, lighten our burden. And we would have hoped that as we're going along, that it also become a place where guidance and counseling and teaching to the new values has to be done. So we do appreciate this good work that has been done here. Stellenbosch is, if I recall correctly, about my former brigadier here, Brigadier Harry, who was the provincial head of family violence and sexual offences unit of the Western Cape. She retired last year in December. And she will agree with me that we've got a problem in this. We've got a real problem in this that needs to be looked at. As correctly stated earlier on by other speakers, not by police only. We cannot work alone in corners. We need to coordinate and work together. Police alone cannot solve the crime in South Africa. Cannot. We need to have community involvement. That is why we are studying. We are studying that community involvement at a root of it in the township, in the locations. But we as police are not getting that involvement that we are looking for. But hopefully, with projects like this, we will be able to take the message to the next level so that we can have a change in society. I always say when I address the communities that we must all get involved because there is no possibilities that we are going to be leaving this country. We are the citizens of this country, and many of us have got no intentions of leaving to the USA. I was listening to this morning to the message that was sent by one of the professionals talking about the people that are living in the country, immigrating, about 18 till 24 that are leaving the country. And one can tell that the reason for that is basically the crime situation in the country. 18 to 24, these young people, they might be looking for opportunities elsewhere, but also the issue of crime plays a bigger role in that. So when I address them, I say, you are not leaving this country, and you want your children to grow in an environment conducive for their life. So we need to work together and make sure we succeed in that venture. So thank you very much from the side of the police for this venture, and hopefully with the assistance of the various stakeholders, we're going to have many more for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brigadier Sojani. We're standing in for our Sub-Provincial Commissioner, Patakile. We unfortunately have an apology from our MEC for Health in the province, Professor Mbongo. We are going to ask Ms. Felicia Thompson to come and speak on behalf of the Department of Health. Thank you.
Thank you, Program Director. I just want to see if Dr. Natasha Blankenberg is, yay! And Natasha is going to join me on stage. I think it's good to have the local voice also represented. So thank you, Natasha. So thank you very much for the opportunity. And again, all protocol observed. I'm standing here having to fill very big shoes. I'm not talking on behalf of the NEC, but I'm delivering really just a short message in support from the Department of Health. I think what I really want to share is just the power of the collective and the ability to harness resources beyond what we can contribute individually. I think for us, from a health perspective, really looking at the journey that a victim has to walk, often reporting at a space where it's unsafe and they feel exposed. I think what an environment like this offers is really a space that is safe, that recognize a victim and his or her specific, and in this instance most probably more her, and in terms of our vulnerable groups, our female and children population, but the need specifically of our victims in providing a safe and a caring environment. I think we all, or some of us might know the National Strategic Plan on GBVF quite well and the various pillars in terms of trying to achieve victim-centered services. But again, I think what for me we need to acknowledge is it doesn't help that we have all the plans in place, but we don't actually collaborate and try and harness the resources that we have in our ability to actually implement. So the power again, I think in terms of collaboration and the power of relationships, and that what we do, if we do it together, we can actually do it so much better. So I don't know, Natasha, if you want to say a few words. And then,
good morning. I'm Dr. Natasha Blankenberg. I'm the manager of the Department of Health in the Stellenbosch sub-district. We just want to say how grateful we are for all of our friends and colleagues that have come alongside us from all sorts of different departments, from civil society, from business, because they've really helped us to carry the load. And I think what's so special about the centre is that clearly people find it more palatable to come here. So, because what we've seen at Stellenbosch Hospital is we still need to see all the severely injured people. So people can only come here if they actually are not acutely injured. But our sexual assault cases reporting at Stellenbosch Hospital in the last 2 months have dramatically they plummeted to zero. Because also the number of patients that have come here have greatly exceeded the number of patients that we've ever seen on a month-to-month basis in our hospital, because it's obviously nicer, easier, less intimidating. The staff that are here are able to give focused attention in a calm and beautiful environment, and that is clearly of great value to the people who, and also helps people to decide to come forward with the problem. So we are really grateful for the excellent work that is done here.
Thank you. I think for me also just having had sight of some of the data, the patient numbers, looking at the history in terms of cases coming through, and it is, as Natasha said, people feeling that they can actually access the centre because it's a safe environment, and the impact that it can have not only on the Stellenbosch community, but the larger Stellenbosch community. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and we really look forward to working together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Benita Thompson and Dr. Blankenberg. We really appreciate your work of support. It's very nice to hear that we are already starting to make a difference. This is from the Department of Health. I see Minister Fernandez nodding at getting agreement. I'm one of our champions in the province for the TCCs cases model. Minister, we'd like you to come and address us next from the Department of Social Planning. Thank you very much.
Program Director, allow me to firstly say good afternoon, goeiemiddag, assalamu alaikum. I am deeply humbled to be standing here as the Minister for Social Development, but I stand here as a survivor of gender-based violence. But my contribution today is a message of support And what we have heard is everything that happened behind the scenes. And so today it is my honor to say a special greeting and word of thanks to our honored guest, the Deputy Minister Johnson. Jeffries, I don't see you there, but he's always nudging me along. To Advocate Toy, thank you. It's a privilege and a pleasure to meet you. To the Mayor, Geesie van Venter in absentia, but the representatives from Stellenbosch Municipality who are present here today. The Ring for Peace, the Cape Town chapter, to the trustees, the chair. I think without your input, this would not have all been possible. But as one of the previous speakers said, this is about individuals with a common purpose and a shared vision. And so we continue to say to all in the Justice Cluster, I see the various advocates here, Advocate Bell, the Cock, my good friend, Advocate Bonnie Curry, whose passion, tenacity, and resilience is unmatched. The woman is indomitable in a need to achieve a goal. And we had a conversation some time ago before this was all realized. And I must say thank you, Bonnie, for your diligence in pursuing this project to its finality. I also want to say I really single people out, but Bonnie has a determination that always scares you. And I thought I was an assertive individual until I met her. And then I realized we've got two strong women in the room. But thank you for persevering and doing that which you did. Then to the magistrate, the justice sector, the brigadier, this really represents a whole of government, the Department of Health and Wellness. But again, it is not a department, a government, or an individual. It is a result of collaboration and a team effort. I also want to say to the members of the department, to the chief directors, Liana Gorsen, I see Chief Director Annelie van Reenen, our two Renees. Many of you will know in the VP program, we have two Renees, Rene Botha and Rene Jafter, but they do the instrumental legwork very silently behind the scenes. You know, you often get these people who work quietly, no limelight, but they get the job done. So I want to say thank you to the team from DSD for your contribution, the endless meetings and everything you have participated in to this date to make it happen. I also see a very special friend of mine over there, and Brigadier Hari. It's so nice to see you again, because in 2019, I think it was Brigadier Hari and I were at Lenterkeer SAPS, where we launched a GBV initiative. And she has been a great asset while she was in active service in assisting the department. Once again, I'm not singling you out, but you have taken that call at 2:00 in the morning, and you have always been there for me and for the department. So thank you so very much. To the University of Stellenbosch, who have made a huge impact and contribution. To our NPO, Auntie Betty and Salke, you are known to us. Thank you very much for the work that you are going to do at the center here. But also to the team that will be working here. Every single person, it's not just the NPO, it's the doctors, the social workers, the carers, right down to the garden and the tea lady who will be in support, because again, whole of society and whole of government is what we see at this flagship launch today. I am extremely proud, and we have in the last 2 years opened 6 shelters in the Western Cape. But this sets the tone and the benchmark, I think, not only for Stellenbosch, the Western Cape, but for South Africa as a whole. And to Mediclinic, thank you for your insight, your buy-in. To the diplomatic corps, I notice many of our diplomats are here. I see my German Consul General and many others. Thank you for your contribution to fighting the scourge of gender-based violence, which we take very seriously in our province. I also want to say to my friend and sister, Wendy Bukia, I see you over there. We talk about women on farms, and I know that you have my WhatsApp number, and I get those messages regularly. But what we see here today is the coming together of a meeting of minds of like-minded people who saw beyond the obstacles and the challenges, but who rose to the occasion and said, you know what, we can make this happen. And this is what we see here today. So it is a special day to be at this long-awaited TCC Care Center launch in Stellenbosch. But it is a day we bring renewed hope to the residents of this beautiful town. And we have heard the stories of the haves and the have-nots. We have seen the increase in the numbers. And I think we are seeing the increase in the numbers of reporting purely because we are creating more awareness. And I think that is a good increase. Unlike anything else, we need cases to be reported. So we've also heard, though, what the impact of the center has done in a short space of time from the 1st of February until today. It's diverted some of the pressure of the local provincial hospital. So clearly it is fulfilling a purpose. So we find that a TCC is a place where the wounded can start to rebuild and repair that which was broken. It is a place where hope is born. It is a place where you can transcend from a victim to a survivor. It is a healing place for all those who enter its doors. So the world is harsh, the world is cruel. The level or the lack of humanity that exists in our world is deeply disturbing to me as a mother, as a grandmother, as a community leader, and in my role as the Minister for Social Development. When you see a father sexually assault his minor child, that is gut-wrenching. I often spend sleepless nights thinking, why do people do what they do? And why do people hurt each other? But we know there's the old saying that hurt people hurt others. And so part of the work we do needs to focus on gender healing, because South Africa and South Africans are a deeply wounded society. We carry the injustice of apartheid, we have inequality, we have poverty, and these all contribute to what is called the social factors that sees a 2-year-old child end up in a facility like this. So we cannot say this is the silver bullet. This is just one in the arsenal of many tools that we need in our toolbox to fight the scourge of gender-based violence. We've all heard that this TCC is the first that is not on hospital premises. And I think that that is commendable, because you've actually gone, you ventured out of the box and you said, don't tell me I need a hospital because I got the premises, I need to turn this thing around. And I remember the robust engagement that you had with us at the time. They are also a symbol. This landmark, this beautiful building is a symbol of the power of collaboration and teamwork. Because today was made possible thanks to the partnership between the National Prosecuting Authority, national governments, provincial DST, Health and Wellness, Stellenbosch Municipality, Stellenbosch University, the South the Rings Cape Trust, so many clinics, most importantly, the private sector and active citizens. We must not forget that citizens have agency, and often as a government, we disempower citizens when we impose plans and projects on them. When we are fighting the scourge of gender-based violence, we need to co-create a shared vision with our communities so that after 12, 18 months, they actually take ownership of that project and then become sustainable. And as government or as stakeholders, we can exit and the community actually manages their project. They take pride because it's theirs. They determine their future and their destiny. And that is part of the change, the behavioral shift and change that we need to bring. Too often, many people see government as the solution to the problem. If anything goes wrong, government needs to solve the problem. It cannot be that a government, a stakeholder, a specific department, the NPA or anyone can be responsible, especially for eradicating the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide, which is so prevalent in our society. So today, for me, to stand here and honor each one of you who made the time to come and to be present here today, to walk through this beautiful facility, which is definitely like a place called home. Even though the stay is only limited to 72 hours after admission, I think many people who come in here deeply traumatized will leave in a much calmer, less traumatized space. So, what is this gender-based violence scourge that we cannot arrest? We have had imbisos, we have had plans, we have had all sorts of everything, and yet the numbers continue. And I really do think that as South Africans, we need to revisit our purpose. We need to find our moral compass as citizens and as a community and do that which is right by others. You don't need to be a minister. You don't need to be an advocate. You don't need to be a mayor. You just need to be a good human being. That's all it takes to make a difference in society. And unfortunately, I'm probably speaking to the converted here today. That's why you're here, because you have this passion to eradicate this scourge. But I do encourage the work that you are doing to spread the message and to create the awareness. Because when the advocate and I spoke earlier, she just made a remark that the work is almost reactionary right now because you're flooded with this deluge of cases that come your way, and there is no opportunity to actually do the preventative early intervention work. And that, I think, is where we need to focus. So the Department of Social Development prides itself on supporting the most vulnerable, ensuring their dignity and that their well-being is protected. But our staff are stretched thin, and often they cannot meet the demand for services, which is on the increase. And over the years, we have seen the need become greater. So this is a happy day for all of us when we can work together as partners, sharing the resources and knowledge in care of others. Thank you to each individual, each partner, each stakeholder, each active citizen who made today possible and who had a hand in bringing this facility to life. For those who will be working here, you have a great responsibility in ensuring that each wounded individual that walks through these doors leave here feeling supported, comforted, and hopeful. To Advocate Bonnie Cully, in her absence, I want to say, Bonnie, thank you again for your tenacity, because she really gave us a rev and made us realize that we need to realize this dream. So may I say that this center is a beacon of hope, not only for Stellenbosch, not only for the Western Cape, but for South Africa. May we protect it as a resource and not damage or destroy it. And may we see the fruits of this center being benchmarked and shared as best practices around the country, globally, continentally, wherever we can find it, because I believe that this is a special place that has been created by special people for a special purpose. And on that note, I wish to thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fernandez. We would like to just give an opportunity to Jacob Brent, and he's a representative of Stellenbosch University. He's from the Transformation and Equality Unit within the university. While he's making his way to the front, MDPP at the Victoria, we had the pleasure of hosting the German delegation with our Consul Generals present here today. And one of the things that Bonnie conveyed to the delegation is your need for champions, men champions of GBV, not only within our communities, but across every sphere. And I'd like to just highlight there are men champions here. Some of our speakers that have spoken out against GBV have partnered with us to make this a reality. Are some of the men that stand up in our communities, within government, within our private partnerships. And I just wanted to alert you to that it's starting and we're gaining footprint, but we do have our men champions. Yeah, I think you can come to the podium.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to represent the rector, I guess, in his absence. My name is Jacob from the Equality Unit at Stellenbosch University. We would just like to thank the National Prosecuting Authority and all parties, specifically the Rector Peace Cape Trust, for approaching us, brainstorming with us, and trying to make this happen as a collaboration. So from the university side, we really want to bolster our own commitment to gender-based violence by having accepted this invitation from the trust and in helping us set up the Inspire facility at Stellenbosch University. So the Inspire facility hopefully can fill some of these gaps that's been mentioned in terms of understanding some of the root causes of these behaviors through research, training, and teaching. So the Inspire facility is short for the Initiative for Nonviolence, research, learning, and teaching. And the university was committed itself not only to provide collaboration in the community, but we need to dedicate services for all staff and students to also access. And we are very proud for this TCC being here and the staff here today. This has happened that we can send our students, send our survivors, send our staff, all their family members to a wonderful center like this. So the long-term goals and visions for this facility is to establish global networks of researchers, academics, and practitioners to study and promote nonviolence and to provide training and capacity building. We aim to create through the Inspire facility an enabling environment for academics, or specifically academic champions, to help us better understand and to help us learn. And so we are hoping that Professor Tuli Valamsela, Professor Kupana Ratele, Professor Amanda Gous, as well as Professor Goboda Marikizela will help us to achieve this goal of significant research and understanding the consequences and also the root causes. Thank you very
much. Thank you, Yaku. We're going to move on to our SPAR representative, the CEO of the SPAR, Mr. Kevin O'Brien. Thank you very much for your message of support.
Good morning, everybody, and Deputy Minister and National Director of Prosecuting Minister and all other honourable guests, and of course everybody else. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today. It's a privilege for SPAR to be involved in the opening of this Student Care Centre. Over the past 4 years, SPAR has been honoured to partner with the National Prosecuting Authority, with Lifeline, with True Life, and recently with Childline, to make a positive impact in our commitment to ending gender-based violence. As we all know, it is easy for a corporate to give money to help try to solve a problem. It is, however, more meaningful to be activists for change when it comes to major issues facing our society. Gender-based violence is a pandemic. And sadly, we don't seem to be dealing with it in exactly the same ways we dealt with COVID. And that does bother me as to why we don't deal with it the same way as we do COVID. At SPAR, we are committed to ending gender-based violence, not so that we look better than our competitors, but because we believe in delivering on our purpose and on our values. We would welcome our competitors. Sadly, you're missing. We would welcome our suppliers, who are sadly missing. And of course, we do work with government. And the support that we need to deal with this pandemic cannot be done by one organization alone. for a corporate to believe that it is important enough, big enough to solve this is living in a dream world, because we aren't the world. Big societal issues are not going to be resolved with a competitive mindset. They will be resolved by true collaboration, based on trust, respect, transparency, and common purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. We're going to proceed to our community representatives. Unfortunately, the Mayor of Stellenbosch, Ms. Advocate van Dieven, is not able to be with us. We do have a representative, Ms. Peggy van Dijk, she's from Ward 8 in the Stellenbosch area. If you could make your way forward, please. Thank you.
Greetings, Program Director and esteemed guests. It is an absolute privilege to be here today. And having listened to all our esteemed guests and our speakers here today, and walking through this wonderful facility there, I'm filled with immense pride to have this facility here in Stellenbosch. Today is one of the few days of celebration when it comes to gender-based violence. We all know when we think about gender-based violence, we think about injustice, we think about fear and deep pain and hurt. But the Tuduzela Care Centre is a beacon of hope for the greater Stellenbosch, and will continue fighting the crimes of sexual assault, sexual harassment, and everything involved with gender-based violence. On behalf of our Executive Mayor, Advocate van Dieven, and the Greater Stellenbosch, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to the Ring of Peace Cape Trust, the National Prosecuting Authority, and all our other stakeholders and collaborators, including SAPS, Department of Health, Department of Social Development, and Stellenbosch University, and of course also our community leaders. Truly, this facility stands as a model of excellence, unmatched elsewhere. No longer must survivors endure the ordeal of traveling to a police station or confronting their perpetrators, nor must they navigate the scrutiny and reliving their trauma. Today is truly a day of celebration and encouragement. Encouragement to continue fighting against gender-based violence. Encouragement to continue working together. And encouragement that we as South Africa will overcome gender-based violence. On behalf of Stellenbosch Municipality, I would like to say thank you. I would like to extend my best wishes to the whole facility and all the management involved. And I also want to say you have our unwavering commitment and support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Van Dijk. We move on with our community representation. We'd like to call on Ms. Wendy Papier. She's one of our champions in Stellenbosch and the surrounding areas. She's from Ubuntu Rural. She not only heads up Ubuntu Rural Women, but she also works directly with the community in the future. So we appreciate your work. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. I was sitting there and I was thinking, maybe I should start with a song, but I'm not going to do that today. It's for another day. I would like to use the opportunity to thank the NPA for this invitation, and I would like to greet everybody, Minister Sana Fernandez, always a phone call away. I can call any time of the day or the night. The NPA, Advocate Samila, Advocate Bonnie, Advocate Ronnie, the NPA team, and so many others, the Ring of Peace, Dr. Wellman, and your team. Carol, we were very privileged to visit the site on the 13th of December 2023 with a delegation from the NGO sector. And we were so honored to walk into the space and to see what's been done. And I call this space a space of healing, a space of restoration, a space where broken hearts will be repaired, a space where women and children that comes here that seek refuge, battered and scarred, will go away from here and they will feel better when they leave this place. And all protocol observed. Too many times we've seen in communities, and as we work in communities, we often at the cold face of violence against women and children, gender-based violence, femicide. We've dealt with so many intimate femicide cases in the past year, and we've seen the numbers are not coming down. And we do a lot of preventative work because we celebrate this facility because we must. Because in the absence of the numbers coming down, we need a place like this. We need a safe place, a safe haven like the Tutuzela can name me, a place where people will come and have comfort. And that is what the center stands for. And I realize when we work in our communities, that when violence happens, and when sexual offences happen, there's some statistics that say South Africa has the highest numbers of rape in the world. And that is alarming. That is problematic when women and children, even 100-year-old woman who was raped in Vredendal, is not safe in the close proximity of a home that's supposed to be a safe haven. And we look forward to the newest Tutuzela Care Centre that will be launched in Vredendal. I'm not sure when, but soon. And I'm sure everybody, we're going to drive that one because Vredendal is like 5 hours away, very deep rural, where women need a facility like this. And what we realize is that it starts with us. We cannot put it to the government alone to stop the spate of violence against women and the excessive violence that we see in our societies. I called the family boys together and I spoke to them, my sister's boys, her cousin's boys, everybody. And I explained to them what is expected of them. And then my sister's child decided, 60 years old, he beats up his girlfriend. And then I learned about it. So what did I have to do? I had to go there and sort it out. I called the police on him. That is our role. I had to call the police on my brother that was beating up his girlfriend. And I've seen how the cycle of violence in my bloodline have continued into the next generations. But we can stop it somewhere. It can stop with us. It can stop when we start speaking about this in our homes, in our society, in our faith communities, in the societies that we belong to. It's no longer a private matter where we don't speak about it. It's a matter that affects us all. Dr. Martin Luther King said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. We are here today because we decided that our voices will not be silent. We decided that we're going to raise our voices against gender-based violence and we're going to do something about it. The Tutuzela Care Centre is a very beautiful model and I want to congratulate the team, the entire team that came together. It reminds me of systems that need parts to operate as a whole. Now this is what it looked like. It's when all spheres come together and create something so beautiful that can make a meaningful impact on generations to come. Because if we don't find a broken child, a broken boy, a broken girl, you're going to see the impact in the generations to come. And here is the place. This is the place of healing. I spoke to Lazelle earlier and I said to her, or was it Dr.? No, it was Dr. Wellman that I spoke to. I said, I decided on green today because green symbolizes hope of the beauty to come. When you put a seed in the ground, you water it, you look after that seed, you're going to see a beautiful product in the end. And that is what I see the TCC stands for today. The center is going to do exactly that. And then injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. It's well. We've already started to tell people about the TCC. We no longer have to work with Dr. Science who do amazing work at Tutizela and Kalbrema as well, but we can bring people here. My heart is actually overflowing with joy. At the same time, it's sad that little children as young as 2 years old have to come to a place like this. But we can end it also by doing the work in the community. And lastly, but not least, we have a grassroots gender-based violence program where we train GBV champions. We don't have men yet, but when I heard about the men champions, I actually thought now we should get men on board. We do work with men, but we never thought that men champions should be part of what we do. And that is where we monitor the eye on the child, eye on elders, eye on people with different abilities. We track when we know there's a problem house in the community, we keep an eye. And that's how we need to work with the school. So if a child is not in school, we must know about it. So we can go and inquire so that something don't happen to the child, to what has happened with Jocelyn in Saldanha Bay or many other missing children in South Africa. Go well. I wish the TCC and the Gender Center all the best. This is love work. May your returns be plenty. May the Lord bless the works of your hands, and I believe together we can achieve more. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Wendy. I'd like to call on Advocate Ronald Bicott, our TCC National Director of Public Prosecution, who's also one of our fierce main champions within our organization, and will introduce the Deputy Minister. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for the opportunity to introduce the DM. But before I do that, perhaps we can give ourselves a huge round of applause for the creation of this wonderful center. It will be the kind of spirit that Wendy spoke about that will drive the work at the center and within this community. And those seeds that she talks about will be replicated in many, many other places in the country. Let me see, I'd just like to raise one issue that going forward, if we can look at the support that we give to the other centers that we have here. I believe there may be some issues in the Mitchell's Plain Center, the TCC, relating to healthcare professionals in that center, and perhaps that's an area that we urgently look at going forward. So I'm sorry to raise it like this, but I just think it's something that we need to address quite urgently. So it's an honor for me to introduce the DM. Many of you, the activists, know the DM because he's always been a champion of GBV in our country. The Deputy Minister, John Jeffrey, was appointed as the Deputy Minister of the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, as it was then known, in 2013 already. So he's been in this leadership role for about 11 years, 12 years now. And when the sixth administration of South Africa was inaugurated, the current President, Cyril Ramaphosa, continued with the post of Deputy Minister in the Department of Justice, and John Jeffrey continued in that particular role. Mr. Jeffrey has played a very important role, as I've indicated, in our response to gender-based violence in the country. The recent GBV laws that were introduced was done under his leadership as the head of the legislative development portfolio within the department, amongst many other portfolios that he carries. And just to remind you that these laws were introduced in January 2022 by the President: the Criminal and Related Matters Amendment Act, the Domestic Violence Amendment Act, and the Sexual Offences, the Criminal Law Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act. The three pieces of legislation is designed to support the work that officials do within the gender-based violence space and to contribute to the tools that law enforcement and that prosecutors have at their disposal on a day-to-day basis. In particular, the DM has also championed the establishment of our sexual offences courts. And remember, any matter that's been dealt with here, the ultimate objective is to take the case to court so that justice is done within our courts and that there's closure for the victim or the survivor of that particular crime. And so we've introduced innovative ways as well within the value chain of the criminal justice system through our sexual offences courts, by introducing camera testifying, by introducing services for children, for persons with disability, with mental disabilities, and for all traumatized victims. We've also approved the regulations through the DM's work, the regulations in relation to the catalogue of support services that's required within our sexual offences courts. And it speaks to a number of things that must happen within the sexual offences environment. So dear, I'm sorry if I've taken a bit of time, but I think it's important that the work that we do as the state, that be promoted to show the important links between what we do within our communities, what the services of the state are, in order to ensure that ultimately there's justice in our society. So thank you very much. I introduce you.
Thanks very much, Advocate Cook. And good, this gone afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to say all protocol acknowledge everyone here is an important person in their sector. It's indeed a privilege and an honor to be part of this Care Centre, Care Centres countrywide. Well, I counted on your booklet, I got to 65. As we launched this, we recall how a large number of women non-conforming people marched under the banner of the total shutdown in August 2018. We also recall the presidential summit to end gender-based violence, the one total shutdown movement. Since then, we've seen many initiatives, interventions, gender-based violence and femicide. These actions have come from government, from business and the private, and many actors. As Dr. Cox said, we passed new laws at the fight. Specifically, the Criminal Law Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act commenced in July 2022. But before it came in, we had a national register. Anyone who'd been convicted of a sexual offence against a child or a person with a mental disability went onto the register. If you wanted to work on or people with mental disabilities, you had to have a clearance certificate that you're named on the register. I'm not sure why we live here, unfortunately, but I'm not sure why we limit children, but we created this amendment that came in 2022. And basically, any person of the thing goes on the register. Then what we did was, instead of just needing this certificate to work with children and people with mental disabilities, we widened the scope, created a category of vulnerable persons, the act. So there are other forms of vulnerable people in terms of the act. And one of that would persons over 60 who receive community-based care and support, but particularly because this is Stellenbosch University town, we included under the category of vulnerable person the age of 25 who receives tuition higher education institution or university college, or who receives vocational training at any institute as part of their employment, or lives in a facility used primarily as a resident persons. So what that basically means, and it's Jaco, I think you're representing the university, you people working in university residents that they are not on the same. And it basically means people working at the university. All of that is basically questions of school, any university res, think you're safe. You're not going to discover that the one of the staff is a sex offender. So it's aimed at prevention. An important part of government's response to gender-based violence is to ensure survivors of these crimes get the required support, so further traumatized by the criminal justice system. Care centers have been developed, optimization to increase in sexual offences cases by equal times of cases from reporting to finalization. The strength of our Thuthuzela care centers lies in the fact that they function as a multidisciplinary team. Police service, Department of various non-government organizations. The integrated approach is one of respect, comfort, restoring dignity, and ensuring justice for children, women, vulnerable persons, victims of gender-based violence. One of a major component of its mandate is SOCA unit used to explore and identify across the country where there's a need for the comprehensive services of the TCC. And Stellenbosch was identified for the establishment of a new TCC. I understand also there was talk of Vredenburg, which has a TCC. Its TCC is being upgraded. From the side of government, I want to say a special word of thanks to civil society and the private sector who've been active participants in the implementation of the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence. Gender-based violence, and this important public-private partnership resulted in the Stellenbosch TCC, which we're launching today. Thank you. This is TCC, and it has emergency facilities on site to assist victims of GBV who are in danger. The Department of Social Development manages the service via a civil society organization called Stelcare. It is indeed a flagship site indicating a new era for our TCCs, a shining example of many different government, society, and the private sector working together to provide to survivors. The Stellenbosch TCC serves a vast area of the greater Stellenbosch area, Franschhoek, Groot Drakenstein, and Platt. In its cases, will be the Stellenbosch Magistrate in the Paarl Regional. And from the police SAPs, there are 6 police stations that feed into the centre. And the TCC also provides compulsory nourishment to those it serves. All current TCCs are sponsored by the SPA group, and this TCC will receive non-perishable groceries, none from the Stellenbosch Quick Spa. Importantly, TCC all gender violences, in other words, not only for sexual offences. Thus, all GBs can be reported reported directly at TCC stations only. Using the opportunity, the issue of signage, I mean, the private sector has helped the NPA with its signage. I didn't look for or sign outside in Stellenbosch as to the TCC, but to the MMC, hopefully that's something that the Stellenbosch municipality can look at in fighting, so people can come here directly. It's vital that our community is made aware of where to go for help, to report cases and access support services. I'm told that the TCC staff and the stakeholders attached to this TCC will also be engaging with communities through public legal education and awareness raising initiatives. But as Advocate de Cockett had said, the purpose of the TCC is an end in itself, and that is to basically help the survivor of gender-based violence, specifically a sexual offence. But it's also to ensure that those cases go to court. And whilst prosecution will not solve everything, and I think where I disagree with the NDPP on corruption is if we have significant prosecutions for sexual offences, hopefully people will think twice. And in any event, many of those offenders are repeated 20 years. That's 20 years that people will be safe with them. So it is important that we look at the next stage, which is the next step, which is a sexual offences court. Now, just for those of you who don't know, the sexual offences courts were started formally in 2013. And the court rooms or facilities of courtrooms, the main issue being a separate room in which the survivor victim can test, and there's facilities for children, etc. Stellenbosch at this stage doesn't have a sexual offences court, although the intention, and they're at a regional court level. Stellenbosch at this stage doesn't have a sexual offences court, although I'm told they do have a potential separate witness testifying room, and they are looking at trying to develop the facilities. The issue that I'm raising is that when we set up the TCCs, I mean not the TCCs, the sexual offences courts, the separate testifying room would be relayed by close. Now, years later, and we COVID, which forced us to virtual courts and things like that. Why do we need the witness, the survivor, the victim to testify in court? Why can't they come here with an intermediary with the new amendment? Any person can apply for one. Why can't they testify from here and it's then relayed to the court? And I'm sure for the victims it will be much better, the survivors, that they don't have to go to a court. They come to a secure place like this and can testify from there. So that's something that I hope that the regional to the provincial director for public prosecutions, hopefully they can discuss it. But we do, because we do have to, I went to a TCC, I was telling the NDP in Madadeni, and the sexual offences court in Madadeni had horrible backlogs. It was some years ago. I think they managed to, Madadeni near Newcastle. It was some years ago, and I think they've been able to eradicate those backlogs or lessen them. But in the TCC, nobody in that TCC had actually testified in court. They'd been there for 3 years because all the cases in the sexual offences courts that were going on to the roll for trial were more than 3 years old. And we've got to move to a situation where the rape happens, it's investigated, and it's then before the court for trial as soon as possible. People shouldn't have to wait years. But to conclude, in April, our country celebrates Freedom Month, and this year, on the 27th of April, we will be celebrating the 30th anniversary of South Africa's first democratic elections. All of us who voted in those elections in 1994 will never forget the sense of hope and optimism we had as a nation on that day. And as we honor those heroes and heroines who fought for our freedom and paved the way for an equal, representative, non-racial nation, we also reflect on the progress we've made on our democratic journey thus far. We talk about freedom a lot in South Africa because we paid such a high price for it. As we celebrate 3 decades of freedom in our country, let us remember that no victim of gender-based violence is truly free. A person cannot be free when they live in fear. So we hope that facilities such as this, or we're not hope, we are sure that facilities such as this will make remarkable progress in this community in the fight against gender-based violence. Because we can't speak of freedom when the victims of those crimes are not safe either in their own homes or in the homes of other people who may well be people they know. And the statistics are that most women get raped by somebody they know. Let us, whether we're public representatives or officials or business people or community activists, recommit ourselves to the ideals and the vision of a truly free South Africa. Let us recommit ourselves to striving for the freedom of others and making that freedom a reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much for supporting the work of the TCC and for always being a staunch activist. We appreciate you being here today. I'd like to call on my boss, who's under the big boss, Advocate Bonnie Carrie-Gamboa, to come and do the thanks. Thank you very much.
Sorry, just a quick one. I got introduced. I think I should introduce, well, she doesn't need any introduction, but just to say that others have spoken, particularly Minister Fernandez, her strength of character. She has made an incredible difference. The NPP was talking about it earlier, to the Sexual Offences and Community Affairs Program and the Thuthuzela Care Centres. The last time I think it was, we might have seen each other a bit in between, but it was a few weeks ago and we were in Cradock, which is in the Eastern Cape, opening a Thuthuzela Care Centre. And in terms of the approach that Advocate Bonnie Carrie-Gamboa has pioneered, there we had the CEO of Vodacom. The whole CEO of Vodacom coming to Cradock, which is about 3 hours from the nearest airport, which is in Quebec. So I do want to, sorry for barging in, but I did think it was necessary to acknowledge you and the important work that you do, and also your whole team. So Zell from the Western Cape working on that here. I think it's important that is known and reflected. Thank you.
Thank you, DM, for those kind words. It's appreciated. The first time ever I met the DM when I was appointed in 2021. I think we were at the US Embassy at the event, and the DM came at me about TCCs. What are you going to do about TCCs? Well, I hope I've shown you what I've been doing about TCCs. But it is an absolute pleasure and an honor to be standing here today. It's been 2 years, is it, Albert? 2.5 years. It feels like 2 to get to where we are today. I don't need to say much about the center. The beauty, the attention to detail speaks for itself. And so we've all put our hearts and our souls into this. It's given us sleepless nights, Carol. It still does. But I think when you have experienced what we experience when we enter the center, that calmness, that sense of purpose,
and that dignity that you are going to be able to give to that victim coming in, it just makes it all worthwhile. So the thank you list is so long. So I'm going to try my best. And if I leave out anyone, Rizal, let me know who I'm leaving out. But I think it is important to acknowledge. When Professor Schroeder spoke, when Holger Baumann spoke, they spoke about the origins, really, of the center. And so I would like to take this opportunity, all protocols observed, but to acknowledge the Ring for Peace, Cape Trust, and the GBV leadership group and the members that are here today to support us. This TCC was really born out of a discussion of a few people around a table. And we could only imagine and dream that we would get to where we are today. So this is a very proud moment for us also as the GBV leadership group, and then as well as for the Ring for Peace Cape Trust. I want to say thank you not only for the financial support, but just the support in general. Because often when you try something new and unique, there are detractors. There are always detractors. And sometimes you really feel down and you don't want to continue. But the support has always been there. The encouragement has always been there. So from my little soccer unit to the Ring for Peace Cape Trust, thank you very much. And thank you to the leadership group. Flowing from the Ring for Peace Trust, we have Mediclinic. And I know that you guys don't want to be in the limelight or anything else, but I do believe you need to acknowledge the leadership at Mediclinic for investing into something which perhaps Mediclinic knew very little about in terms of the model, and trusting us enough to invest in a model such as this. To the Mediclinic staff that is here, I know Dr. Palsa is here somewhere, Gail, Shabangu, and of course, you, sir, Mr. Pretorius. You know, the leadership, if you don't have top leadership buying in to a need to address GBV, everything else fails, right? Because you don't create an environment where there is zero tolerance towards GBV. So we are most thankful for that as well. The University of Stellenbosch, also the link with the Ring for Peace Foundation. This used to be a residence of Stellenbosch University, the Botmaswigte residence. And look at it today. It was standing empty when we arrived. And when we first came here, we all said, wow, look at this massive building. What are we going to do with it? But we repurposed it, I think, to the best. And I do believe it will be used optimally. So we are very, very grateful to the University of Stellenbosch as well. And as the DM correctly says, the student, the female student under the age of 25 is now also regarded as a vulnerable group. And so we are going to put in place, and we've already started the engagement with the universities at large, not just the University of Stellenbosch, to link each and every of the tertiary institutions to the local TCC. And this we will do through the Department of Higher Education and Higher Health. And with Professor Alwalia, the CEO, we have been engaging quite a lot. And so we want to see the students entering here. It's not on campus, so it's away from the campus, and we're hoping that that too will assist. But in a broader sense, Yaku knows, I've said, since the University of Stellenbosch is here, and you have students that are going to be social workers, that are going to be doctors and nurses and the like, how important it would be for them to perhaps potentially be able to come here and assist, you know, during those formative years of their education. So really, the location is going to allow us to do so many things and to link up with sectors that we would not ordinarily link up with. I want to say thank you to the SPA group. You know, everything you see that is catered, the decor, you are sitting in a parking lot. You might not have noticed. But to Esme and her team, thank you very much. Always willing. So we have an MOU with SPAR. And I know SPAR, you too don't want to be acknowledged, but you must be acknowledged. They pay and they finance every launch of a TCC for the supplement. And sometimes we do mess you around with the dates, sorry, Kathy. But here we are, they always make it happen. They allow us to do a professional launch of a site. We've spoken before about the groceries that are linked to each and every TCC. And dear, the reason there are 65 listed, it includes Mitchell's Plain. We just need a bit of assistance, MEC, with Mitchell's Plain. But we couldn't print with only 64 when we knew 65 was coming anyway. So we are forward thinkers in the NPA. So I want to thank the SPAR group from the bottom of my heart. Kevin, it is delightful that finally you've come to a launch. We speak about male champions, NDPP. Kevin O'Brien is a GBP champion. Thank you. To the members of SAPS that are present, we can't have a TCC without the members of SAPS, the South African Police Services. I want to extend my thanks to you for attending, but also to Colonel Tansi, who has replaced Brigadier Hari, who thought that we could be replaced, Sonia, but there we are. And you've left the learnings there, because really we've not had to drag the FCS unit, the local FCS unit has come to the party, and they have brought the victims here. And that is why the numbers are increasing, and I foresee that the numbers are going to increase even more. So thank you to the police, to the Department of Health for their assistance in terms of the consumables also, on-site at the TCC, for which we are eternally grateful. Our relationship with the Department of Health it spans many, many years in respect of this model. And we will continue to work towards that collaboration and that partnership to continue, because we do need the Department of Health in our spaces. To the Department of Social Development, MEC Fernandez, thank you for your kind words as well. NDPP and the other boss, Advocate de Kock, you heard, I'm a formidable force, so thank you very much. But again, these Liana, Rene, we cannot do it without them. You know, not just in this TCC, but in other TCCs as well. And then bringing on board Stalke, again, a different setup here. You supported our flagship, and for that we are grateful that we have Stalke running the services upstairs. To the diplomatic corps, Simon, that is still here. The German Consul General had to leave. But again, we're trying to create this partnership where if citizens of those particular countries find themselves victims in this country, that there is a referral pathway to the closest TCC. So again, just broadening it out, and we are for the opportunity to be able to train the staff at the various High Commission offices around TCCs, because again, you know, it's also part of even though something absolutely horrible has happened to them, that they are given the best service that South Africa is able to give to them in their time of need. And that is also not the running around, you know, not knowing what to do, but that your staff will know exactly what to do. But thank you for taking the long trip to come here. Simon, I know you were very excited to come, so thank you. And we remain open to any visits that you want to have with us at our TCCs. We are always willing and welcome, in fact, visits from the diplomatic corps. Civil society, Wendy, she's always a stalwart. When we are in trouble in Stellenbosch, we call Wendy Pakir. If you want to know something in Stellenbosch, we call Wendy Pakir. She's been a good guide to us as to who and how to, deal with this particular community. as well. And so thank you for your support. And already, I'm sure, telling people about the TCC and its services, which is so key to the running of the TCC. I want to also thank the other NGOs that are here. I know Red Crisis is here, and everybody else that is here. Stout Care, I know, is, and Mosaic. Okay, I'm glad that everyone is here. Without the NGOs, our TCCs can't run 24 hours. It's as simple as that. So they are the backbone of our service after hours. And so we acknowledge your support. And I know our relationships will just become stronger and stronger. To the members of the judiciary, Ms. Maya Pratt, who is here, the link between the judiciary and the TCCs, we want more magistrates to come to the TCCs, to come and see what happens here, to understand the services that are being offered. And I would encourage, if a victim, any victim who has not received the service, and any one of us becomes aware, show them, direct them to your local TCCs. It is important. We need to embed the service onto our landscape as a country. To the colleagues from the NPA, I see the Chief Magistrate, the Chief Prosecutor here, Mark. It's always good to be back in Cape Town and see the old faces, and he's brought his prosecutors with him. To the TCC colleagues, the ones that we will leave here, Nandipa and Danielle, they are somewhere, I'm not sure where they are, but those two at the back, they will need your support. We will still need your support as we go forward. The soccer unit, we do a lot to address and attempt to address GBV. And it's important. We need to do it as a collective. If you look around the room, that's what it is about. I think Professor Schroeder also spoke about partnerships. Bernard has left, but he speaks in Afrikaans of Samstaan, right? And so it is important. We've seen what we can achieve. But as a collective, always as a collective. Very importantly, Professor Schroeder said, at the end of the day, it's all about the victim. I think, sorry, it was you, Holger, who said it's always about the victim. When we have our leadership groups, our GBV leadership group, we always say the victim is at the center of it all. So when egos get to peak, that is how we bring ourselves back, because those GBV leadership groups are not polite tea parties. Sometimes things are said there and tempers flare, but we always bring it back to the same thing, the victim. Everything is about the victim and will always be about the victim. And so as the soccer unit, we've also tried to think out of the box. DM as well as the MC. You may not know that we have a serial rapist prioritization initiative, which we've rolled out since September last year with our DPP offices across the country. And already through our TCCs, those victims are being seen at our various TCCs. And we're making sure that these dockets are not lying somewhere and not being attended to. And I must also say to SAPS, the FCS, the SECI unit of SAPS, who have really come on board and push this initiative with us. We also are starting to roll out a teenage pregnancy project. We're starting in KZN, where we're asking DOH, give us the names of the persons, and we're targeting it with groups, because it is a massive, massive amount, unfortunately. But we're starting with the under 12s right now, because those are the ones that in any event can't give consent, and so it's rape. And so those victims will also go through our TCCs. And so we really, as I said, trying to embed it. We also started with a SPA group again. Thank you for the packaging. You will see, for those of you that shop at SPA, you will see the Tutuzela logo on there. You will see the TCC email address on there. It's marketing. We're using every opportunity to embed services of this everywhere. And we're doing that with the private sector. There's the big billboard at Cape Town Airport.
knows. My dream is to see Tutuzela on that big spa billboard there. So I'm waiting patiently for that to come. Then also to Vodacom in absentia. What we've done with Vodacom, besides building new TCCs as we've done in Krada, and they will now move to Temba in Mpumalanga and build the Temba or reaccommodate the Temba TCC. There's also an app called the Bright Sky app, which is on the Play Store. And we've engaged with them. It's a COVID app, so if you open it up, it looks like a calendar, it looks like a game. But if you depress it, your finger long enough on it, it opens up and it asks you, are you a victim of GBV? And you can actually detail all of the incidences of GBV onto that app in that COVID manner. But very importantly, it gives, you can just click pin location and immediately it will show you all the resources in your immediate area. And we've negotiated with them to include the locations of all the TCCs across the country. So we're very happy with that as well. So we need to embed the TCC service, not as a nice to have, but as a must have. And when I look around the room, the MC, you've said it, I'm speaking to the converted. Those of us here know what we need to do. They know the scourge must be replaced. And I think we all understand that it must be done as a collective. But for any intervention to be successfully implemented to address GBV as a collective, there also needs to be value-driven leadership. And when I look across, I'm looking at value-driven leadership. So what is that? It's one that leads from a deep sense of purpose. It demonstrates a commitment to the values of integrity, empathy, honesty, accountability, the effectiveness, passion, courage, excellence, and resilience, and above all, respect. That's value-driven leadership. And that is what you need to address GBV. That is what you need. And so the leadership, however, mustn't be impractical. Right? It must be a practical leadership. Like this, a TCC. We don't just speak how to, we do. And so to all of you sitting here, I encourage you, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time to come here. But please let this not be your last engagement with the TCC, not necessarily Stellenbosch. I want you to go out there, and if there's one thing that you can do for us is to tell everybody about services of a TCC, and that includes the private sector. We've been engaging with the Clicks group, for example, that we include in their employee wellness program, referrals to a TCC. So slowly but surely, we are embedding it everywhere, as well as on the minds as well. So tell the story. It is a good story to tell. There's somebody there that needs to hear the story, and it is our responsibility to tell the story to all of the victims that are out there. Thank you very much. And we will invite you, DM, to the next 65th TCC launch as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all our speakers, to all our partners, to all of our guests. This concludes our formal part of the program. Please stay behind if you are able to. Fast cake for lunch. So this is the end of the proceedings, and thank you very much for joining us.